Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. So I'm trying to sort through my ideas and really nail down the image I want for this room. So I'm actually trying to get a feel for where to really start in the rooming house parlor. Now I'm working on the chimney breast and the base of the chimney fireplace area. So I'm using foam core as the base where it's gonna lift the fireplace or mantle a little bit because I don't want it sitting directly on my floor. Now I'm actually using this other piece of foam core to be the body of the chimney breast. So I'm just sitting it up here now so you can kind of see what I mean and kind of get a feel for what my idea is. And I'm going to put sides on it, but I'm actually going to have it where it sits away from the wall because I actually want this fireplace to have a faux fire. So here it is back inside the rooming house parlor. And you see here I left a little space in the back, and I will create a little hole there at the bottom depending on what I use to make my fire. And that's the base, and I'm going to cover that with some type of faux finish. I haven't decided yet which one. So I've got quite a bit of work to do on that, but I just wanted you to get a feel for my overall idea. And I'm trying to center it based on the design in the floor. Now, this floor dolls, I made it to look a little old and worn, like maybe it had been refinished over and over, stains and scuffed, and really trying to make it look really, really vintage and old. And although I like it, I've got some other ideas tumbling around in my head, so I may end up doing something different. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. I do like it. I'm considering even possibly using it in the music room. And if I use it in the music room, I'm definitely going to have to size it down. So I'm actually going to lose a part of the design. But when I think about that, I don't like it because I don't want to lose the design because I really like the design. I just don't know if I like it for this room. So let me focus on the fireplace for a moment. I really like the way the design actually gives the room a bigger or grander feel because it kind of spreads it out. And it's amazing how something like that will give an optical illusion to make it look larger. So here, dolls, let me move on to my other project. So because I had the floor in the parlor already ready, I decided to work on the floor for the hallway. And this is what got me triggered about the floor that I've already created in the parlor. I started out making the design for this floor, and I have so many ideas about how I want this to look. Now, again, it's going to be a parquet floor as well, but I did things a little differently than I did my previous parquet floors. After deciding on the design, I stained the shingles multiple shades of stain, and then I cut the shingles from corner to corner diagonally so it gave me these really cool triangles, which gave my design some variety. I realized that staining the shingles beforehand gave me a much cleaner, defined look. So let this be another lesson, dolls. You can do things for a long time one way, but if you try something new and you like it, go with it. Don't be afraid to change. Now, after I cut a nice amount of my pre-stained triangles, I went ahead to create a border around my brown paper bag, which is my template, with coffee stir sticks and just begin to work. Now, dolls, I don't do a lot of planning when I do a lot of my projects. I probably should do more, but when I start getting an idea in my head, I just want to start working. It may not be a best practice, so do what works for you. If you have to do additional planning and preparation is never wasted time, dolls. Take your time, plan as much as you need to. You can even count your shingles. You can decide ahead of time how many are you going to use of which color. Yeah, I don't do any of that. I just start working. So I did measure out the length of my hallway and created the border, which made me know approximately how many shingles I would be able to get, every few inches. So I did try to do that so that when I got to the end, I wouldn't be short or undercut my design, if you know what I mean. So I did do some dry fitting to make sure everything fit on there the way I imagined it. And after I realized it fit, I started gluing, dolls. Take your time, do it portion by portion because the glue dries pretty fast and you want to make sure you focus on each segment to make sure your design is fitted properly and that all the pieces are laying down. Now, I will advise you that if you use this process to keep you some heavy things around so that you can weight down your shingles while they're drying, because they will lift up or try to curl while they're drying, because as they absorb the glue, they, like I said, they just get kind of curly. So you don't want them to get curly. So be careful what you put on top of them. Now you may want to lay a piece of wax paper, because if any of the glue oozes, it'll stick, and you don't want anything getting stuck to the surface of your beautiful design. Now, dolls, be forewarned, this is very tedious. This took quite a bit of time to get this design on this template. So if you have to do it for a little while, work on it, walk away, take your time, be very careful with your cuts. The shingles are very fragile. They will split and crack, and then you'll lose material. So you definitely don't want to rush through this. And you can be as precise with your cuts as you like. Now, there are small gaps in between some of my pieces because I'm fitting them in like puzzle pieces. So I do have to do some little trimming with some of them and change out one that fits better than the other. But just take your time. And again, be forewarned, there'll be a lot of shimming and trimming because my cuts weren't exact. And yeah, I didn't care. I really like the design, and I think the overall look is going to look great. So I did have to do some adjustments. I had to do some additional measurements, and like I said, in the end, it turned out really, really nice. Now, dolls, I really, really was pleased with the way this design turned out, and I did mix it up a little bit, and I actually changed the pattern for the next segment. Make yours as simple or as intricate as you like. So, dolls, after working on the hallway a while, this is what happened. I ended up back at the drawing board regarding the parlor floor. So sometimes, dolls, you'll think you're absolutely sure about what you want and you'll change your mind. I felt like it was disrespectful to have the hallway floor be more grand and beautiful than the main room floor. And although I like the parquet floor I made for the parlor, I didn't like it as much as I like this hallway floor. So I had to start over. I came to the conclusion that the parlor floor should be the grandest of all in the house. Now, after thinking about the floor, I started to consider, with this really ornate, fancy floor, what will I do for wallpaper? Now, here's an option I've had. I actually used it in the Rooming House Cafe, and I really like it in there. It's kind of subtle, and it doesn't fight with the stone floors in that room, so I'm thinking it might play well with this really fancy floor. So I did have another option for wallpaper that has a nice, deep, rich maroon color, which was very popular during that time. So, dolls, I'm going to get on back to work and make some decisions and get things prepared so I can at least reveal the floors next week. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of Little Gretchen's Workshop. Bye bye now, dolls.